Doctor Who was one of my favorite shows. My family started watching it in the 80s. I ran a club for multiple years. I've seen every serial twice except for Peter Davidson's. Really, I'm just a big fan of the classic era. If I were to break this show into sections, it would go Doctor Who, Lesser Who, Fanfiction Who, Lesser Fanfiction Who, and Delete Me Who, also known as the last 4 seasons. I'm future-proofing here, so I've added a new category called What Even for any
pre-Hartnell
Doctor adaptations. Doctor Who's ratings have been the talk of the town on YouTube since Whittaker's run. Capaldi and Whittaker have been doing the ratings limbo for years, and a number of news outlets have taken notice of this strange spectacle. The ratings are indeed low, but have been exaggerated. This is the article that inspired my video. Okay, it's taken a while to throw it together. But no matter how the numbers are cut, this article is factually incorrect. So, obviously, viewership does not mean an episode or a doctor is good or bad. For example, I like McCoy, but his viewership was terrible. Audience is an indicator. It correlates with fan enthusiasm, merchandising, conventions, and the fans' involvement in the community. Also, citizens of Britain are forced to pay for it. So, when viewership is up, it's good to take notes and emulate. When it is down, do the opposite. Now, Doctor Who has been running for 37 seasons. You might be wondering, what even are good ratings for this show? Good question. Jumping to Wikipedia, I'm given the average viewership of every season. I can now take these numbers and graph them. How lovely. So you can see that the show has a boom with the first Doctor. This is the Dalek mania of the 60s. The Daleks were such an iconic monster, it really boosted the era for the first Doctor overall. The second Doctor, my favorite, does not inherit the Dalek mania boost, so big dip. The ratings then build and build and build all the way until King Tom Baker. Keep in mind, the average rating for all the episodes up to this point was 8.5 million views. I'll call this gold tier, and that's all about to change. Doctor Who had a number of showrunners at the time who passed the torch. All was good until
John Nathan Turner
took over. His first mission was to get rid of King Tom Baker. He was the true ratings limbo king. The original, you might say. He won lowest season average 3 times. Now, you may notice that New Who looks a bit low. This is because Wikipedia has separated out the special episodes. Those included, the ratings would increase a bit. For example, David Tennant's average, including these 5 episodes, goes to 9.2 million. Anyways, the average rating of all of Doctor Who is about 7.7 million views. New Who and Old Who have about the same viewership. So using this as a baseline, if your episode has at least 7 million views, you're in bronze tier. If you're below 7 million, copper it is. And before I move on, I want to point out that the last time this show got canned, it had an average viewership of about 5 million for 4 consecutive years. We're beginning to near those waters again. So how were the ratings for Jodie Whittaker's first season? Her pilot had the advantage of being played in theaters and people tuning in to see the first female Doctor. But for the rest of the season, the ratings drained like a hole at the bottom of a water tank. While this was hailed to some as a disaster, this tended to be a bit more even-handed. Her ratings and average are actually very similar to Christopher Eccleston. He had 3 more episodes than her, so I lumped in her first Christmas special. Doesn't change much if I do or don't. And, well, we can't know the ratings of an additional 2 episodes for that season, but for now it's remarkably similar to Eccleston's season. Eccleston is beloved, Jodie not so much. Her second season, however, has continued to see a further drop, and we've been inundated with articles about her having the worst ratings in 31 years. Here's a graph to see both her seasons back to back. As I said earlier, her first episode is Spectacle, much like Rose was. I don't count it. Her viewership dropped roughly 2 million in the first year, then an additional 2 million, but has mostly leveled out in viewership. So now time to address the elephant in the room. Ratings. Now, talking ratings is like talking apples, oranges, and onions. Everyone ready to get confused? Great! First off, Doctor Who has been running since 1963. The population of the UK has increased from 54 million to 66 million, an increase of about 20%. It may be good to adjust the old ratings for inflation. Second, the BBC has twice now changed the way it gathers ratings during New Who. They first introduced consolidated views during the Tennant finale episodes, then a second time for Capaldi's final year, so you can see the 28-day viewership. Ah, come on! This just smells like cooking the books to me. At this point, why not count every DVD sale for older episodes? Or every time they do a rerun? Why stop at 28 days? So we're going to be talking about 2 sets of numbers. the overnight numbers and the consolidated numbers. And I'll just start with overnight. Easy peasy. The old episodes, the new episodes, play on the station one time. People watched, number was captured. Overnight viewers, self-explanatory. This is the way it was always done. However, the Doctor Who Ratings Guide, as well as Wikipedia, use consolidated numbers. So what is this? On the Doctor Who TV website, consolidated TV ratings include those who recorded and watched within a week, making them a more accurate measure of how many were watching. And I tend to agree with this one. I also noticed that the consolidated ratings on Wikipedia throw in the iPlayer numbers as well. So finally, we've got all the pieces together. The article I'm responding to is talking about overnight figures. I'll get to that in a minute, but first, I'll talk about consolidated. I'm going to be using the lowest rated episodes of the season, which came out a bit later. So, the lowest consolidated rating for Jodie Whittaker is Can You Hear Me? With 4.9 million views. So logically, this article is claiming that this would be the lowest viewership since Mysterious Planet Part 4, which had 3.7 million views. This was Colin Baker, a notoriously divisive doctor.
You're expecting someone else?
But this would be twice wrong, for you see, the doctor after him had lower viewership than he did. It is Battlefield Part 1 that has the lowest rating in all of New Who, with 3.1 million views. But it is twice wrong. Capaldi's third season was a disaster in ratings. Both of these episodes, The Lie in the Land and The Eaters of Light, had less than 4.9 million views. So, Can You Hear Me is actually the worst ratings for the show in the last 3 years. So, on to the overnight figures. Jodie's worst ratings for overnight is on Ascension of the Cybermen with 3.71 million viewers. However, even this is not the worst overnight figures for New Who. The honor goes back to Capaldi with a whopping 7 serials with worse ratings, the lowest being Eaters of Light with 2.89 million views, which if we compare to Classic Who would be the lowest ratings in the series history. As things stand, Whittaker has lost roughly 2 million viewers per season. Her first season was a rebirth of the series ratings, oddly matching Eccleston's, but her second season has left her mixed in a sea of Capaldi. Her next season may see further decline, though her second season did level out for a while in the ratings. She may soon be able to take the crown of worst ratings in New Who from Capaldi, and if she gets really into the limbo, down just 2 more million, she may even take the crown from Sylvester McCoy for the least viewed episode in the show's history. That will be a sight to behold. It took John Nathan Turner 10 years to break the show. Chibnall is projected to take just 3. Well, I would begin wrap up, but the latest ratings are in for Timeless Children. Let's see. Holy moly! 4.69 million viewers? That's certainly going to change things a bit. For overnight views, my argument still stands, but for consolidated, Whittaker has become the new first place for lowest viewership in New Who history. Congratulations. This would be the lowest ratings in 28 years, and puts her in 34th place for lowest viewership in Doctor Who history, out of 861 episodes. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. So, that was fun. My first foray into YouTube, and I'm arguing semantics. I'm thinking of working on a series of videos of everything New Who got wrong about Classic Who. Spoilers, it's just about everything. Give a like, leave a comment if you're interested in me making more videos, or if I just plain got something wrong in here. I'm also considering reviewing Classic episodes too. Anyways, see you all later.